This is why I need women to stop making excuses for kids. They will be in your face trying to unalive your children. Women will be like, oh my God, he's so quirky. He's so incompetent. Listen to this. Husband keeps leaving our children in the bath alone. By the way, the children are a 2-year-old and an infant. So today is the 3rd time my husband has left my kids alone in the bathtub unsupervised. The first time he did it was a few months ago. He left my 2-year-old in the tub all alone while he did outside work. I was home at the time, so maybe he just expected me to take over. See how they're rationalizing this man's clear attempts to, unalive their kids? IDK. But anyway, I got mad at him for this and he acted like I was being paranoid, but said he wouldn't do it again. A couple months later, when I wasn't at home, see how he escalates? I came home one day to find a massive goose egg, that's a bump on the head for those who don't know, on my 1-year-old's head, and I asked him what happened. After a lot of deflective explanations and zigzags, I got it out of him that he had left her in the bathtub on her own, a 1-year-old. While the toddler was throwing a massive tantrum and he needed to get her out of the bath. So he went to change her diaper and get her dressed because he, quote, couldn't take care of them both at the same time. And because, quote, she was the one throwing the tantrum, he focused on her first. Meanwhile, he was only gone for a couple of minutes, but she must have slipped and hit her head on something. I explained to him he should take the baby out before the other kid or just bathe them one at a time if he couldn't handle both. And he agreed. I ended up taking her to the hospital because she was crying a lot and it turned out she had a concussion. Big shocker. I told them what happened, but they said new parents make mistakes all the time. I ripped into him when I got home anyway, and he was very grieved about it and ashamed and choked up with tears in his eyes. Crocodile tears, because listen to this. After that incident, I was certain he had learned his lesson. We discussed not leaving them alone ever when they were bathing. We discussed to not leave the bathroom ever when they were bathing, and even if it was an emergency, to take both kids out at the same time, if need be, until that was under control. So in other words, we discussed basic care of children that anyone who has children ought to know. Stop letting these men weaponize incompetence because they are just doing it to hide violence. Okay, so the baby was 7 months old when that happened. But today I came home from an hour-long appointment at a counseling session. I have ADHD, autism, PTSD, and birth trauma health issues that make it difficult for me on a good day to function, that I just got diagnosed recently. And I found him outside mowing the lawn with his headphones on. I found both my 1-year-old and my 2.5-year-old left in the tub alone together. He left the bathroom door open as well as the front door, but he clearly never would have heard them over the headphones and the lawnmower. So I don't know what he thought that would do. I freaked out, but he just said sorry and didn't seem very concerned. He made excuses that he was checking on them every few minutes and that the baby was older now. I had to show him that legally you aren't allowed to leave children in the tub that young, and threatened him with reporting him to child services. Then he became more apologetic and took me seriously. I pointed out, quick pause. Yeah, he became serious because that's what he's afraid of. This man is trying to unalive your children, make it look like an accident, and if you report him to child services, he's not going to be able to do that. He's not, there's going to be a paper trail. So of course he's afraid of that. Like, are these people's dense? Lord, help me. This is time number 3 of him doing this after a serious accident already happened. Like, I don't know what more you need to see. Anyway, I pointed out that he said last time, and here he was again, despite being upset about it the last time. But now I feel like I should just go ahead and report him anyway, because a kid already got a concussion once from his negligence, and he was very upset about it at the time, so you say. So I trusted him again, but as time went on, he became much more cautious and was doing really well, so I decided to start giving him more parenting chances again. But I guess he only does it when I'm not around. Look at that. It's almost like you're putting the clues together, because it looked like yesterday he got complacent again. I literally had to quit my job today. My mom suddenly went on holidays for a month and needed me to cover the 2 shifts she has a week while she's away, because I no longer trusted him with them alone. Should I report him to the authorities or not? I really can't deal with this. I'm scared of bad things happening if I do, but this behavior is intolerable. What should I do when I can't even trust him to keep his word when I leave the house? He acts perfect when I'm at home and then starts doing this dumb thing when he doesn't have eyes on him. You almost got the point, man. You're walking right into it. It's never dumb. Guys, what you accept as weaponized incompetence in your romantic relationship will reappear when you have children. And if he gets irritated enough, he will become violent towards them and they will be unalived. I'm going to tell y'all a secret. A lot of these, SIDS passing aways are not SIDS. They are husbands unaliving children or significant others unaliving children. There have been research and studies out the wazoo on this. People know this stuff. But let me finish up real quick because you have to see this admission. Because he acts perfect when I'm at home, and then he's doing this dumb thing when he doesn't have eyes on him. And here I thought he had smartened up. I always suggest daycare, and yet he doesn't like it when I give the kids to other people to take care of because he's, quote, more than capable, but then does some dumb stuff like this. Well, of course he doesn't want them in the hands of professionals. They might live. These are the times that I take care of them for the day instead. But sometimes I want to put them in daycare so I can have a break. He always gets really defensive when I try to give them to others, like he's trying to prove to everyone he's not a failure. But then he pulls crap like this. I don't get it. Anyway, I told them he can't bathe them anymore. He can't be left alone with them anymore. And I got really, really mad at him, and now I'm considering also taking legal action. But I talked to a lawyer about it, and they warn against it because it usually doesn't help people, and the court system here in Canada is very strict about evidence and also continuous neglect. And she didn't think he had done enough neglectful stuff overall for the courts to not let him have 50% custody. She said they really only take the most extreme cases and have supervisors for those people, and they're in short supply. She also told me I could end up losing my house if I left, and the best option would be just to get a babysitter or put him in parenting classes or just not let him watch the kids anymore when I'm not there. Anyway, I'm just trying to figure out what my next steps are aside from not leaving him alone with them anymore, which is obviously something I'm not ever going to do again, no matter how apologetic he is this time. Clearly, it doesn't carry over to the long term. So there's an edit and an update, which I'll just do separately in another video because they're so very long. But it's the comments that are really sending me. People are asking her, oh, well, maybe he has OCD. Maybe the lawn has to be mowed right away. Well, maybe he has ADHD. Maybe he has this. Like, why are you all excusing this man's clearly murderous intent? And this is exactly what I talked about the other day. When women have a mental health issue, it's like you better get your stuff together and we find a way to work harder and work around our issue without accommodations. This woman has birth trauma. She's got ADHD. She's got a long litany of things we talked about earlier. And she knows leaving your children in the bathtub is wrong. She understands she has to do what she needs to do for her mental health. So she's going to the counselor. And while she's out at the counselor, this man is trying to unalive her children. Meanwhile, people have the evidence right in their faces, and I'm going to show you some of these comments because they are unbelievable. These were my favorites. I bet in the dad's head, it's like a place, the bathtub, to put them where they stay contained and happy, and he gets some alone time during the day. And because he's a self-centered idiot, he tells himself, meh, it's not that dangerous. My wife is being hysterical. Like, even the people who clearly acknowledge that this is dangerous are like, oh, but maybe he's just dumb. Nobody's that dumb. I mean, the excuses people make for men really blow my mind. Some people were on it. Some people are like, he is trying to unalive them. But even those people who made room for he's trying to unalive them, a lot of them were still like, oh, well, silly husband doesn't understand how children work. Babies and water, oh, the mystery. So I talked about a week or so ago how women will use the boyfriend or whatever as a post-life abortion and just, leave the kid alone with a man who has shown he's dangerous and incapable of watching the child. And this is how fathers do it. They will do it themselves. And like my girl who got her video taken down said, a lot of these hot car deaths are nothing but post-life abortions. A lot of these, accidental deaths in the house like this with the bathtub or, something on the lawn with the kid, that was a post-life abortion. So you need to watch out for this. And women, just watch. That's it. Like and follow for more.